How's it going, everyone? It's GadgetsBoy, and we're here in the middle of nowhere, Norway, a top secret location, to check out the latest exercise that the British Army are involved with NATO. It's called Exercise Trident Juncture, and we're here to check out helicopters, land vehicles, loads of technology. Obviously, we're a tech channel, that's why we're here to check it out. Well, yeah, let's go see what it's all about. Let's go.
Trident Juncture 2018 is a NATO-led military exercise held in Norway with an Article 5 collective defence scenario. The exercise will be the largest of its kind in Norway since the 1980s. With around 50,000 participants from 31 nations taking part, it includes 10,000 vehicles, 250 aircraft and 65 vessels. The goal of the exercise is to train the NATO Response Force to test the alliance's defence capability, as well as to test the country's, in this case Norway's, ability to receive and handle allied support from the likes of the British Army. To better understand the setup and what it takes, as well as what this whole exercise is about for the British Army, we spoke to Lieutenant Colonel Caroline Lewin, MBE from the Royal Signals, part of the British Army, to tell us a bit more.
Hello, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Caroline Lewin. I'm from the Royal Signals and part of the British Army Force here in Norway on Exercise Trident Juncture. 4th Infantry Brigade is the brigade that we're part of, and we are one of the brigades alongside the Germans and the Italians that makes up the land component south, who are fighting the land component north on a really great NATO exercise. And the exercise itself is about 50,000 troops who've all come out to Norway to exercise in what is quite an austere environment. And in order to prove our solidarity as a NATO organisation, to prove our cohesiveness, to look at how our capabilities work together, and to demonstrate that we can work with each other despite different languages, different cultures and different pieces of equipment. So the exercise itself has just really kicked off. This is LiveX. A lot of the British team have been out here for a number of months preparing. So that's learning how to cope with being in the cold, but also working out how we talk to each other, using communications capabilities and equipment, and how we do that with different security classifications as well. So that's been a really great achievement. And we're now in LiveX. The troops are beginning to fight each other in the Norwegian countryside, in the woods and the forests. And that itself has generated a number of challenges. So for me as a signaller, trying to get up through these trees and talk across great distances has definitely been a challenging challenge for my team. The snow is also falling, as you can see, and that too has proved difficult for just drivers. We've got lots of different vehicles out here, tanks, armoured fighting vehicles, Land Rovers, big heavy trucks, and all of the soldiers that are driving those things have got to learn how to cope with black ice underneath, snow, and whilst also trying to think about an enemy picture coming towards you. So great exercise, and as I said, part of NATO and looking at how we show how we can adopt a really joint, interoperable force wherever it may be needed in the world in the future. The 4th Infantry Brigade has got a number of components inside it. We call the F echelon our fighting echelon, and that involves the Royal Irish Battle Group and also the Light Dragoons as a reconnaissance force, and a Danish battle group which consists of a Polish company, and they bring heavy armour to the party. Around that you've got a number of other enabling organisations. So we have medics out here providing a real-time medical function and also an exercise medical function so that they can extract casualties off the battlefield and get them to critical care as quickly as possible. We've also got logistics enablers, so people who will bring fuel forward, ammunition forward. They'll also repair stuff and take that backwards and be part of a recovery organisation. So when something breaks down or something's taken out by an enemy force, is that they'll get that back off the battlefield and do what they can to get that back up to speed. A bit closer to home for me, we've got signallers, and the signallers, we've got a regiment from 2 Signal Regiment in York who are out here generating a network architecture so that people can command and control the battlefield. And then commanding and controlling the battlefield are essentially staff officers who work inside Headquarters 4th Infantry Brigade, which you can see behind me. And that brigade headquarters plans all the missions that are taking place out here in Norway, and then they execute them. So they go out into the woods and forests, not far behind the fighting echelons, and command the battle as close as they can without clearly being compromised by the enemy. So that gives you a bit of a flavour. There are other organisations out here as well who bring niche capabilities such as military police, who work in controlling the routes and making sure routes are open and handling prisoners of war and or casualties, pushing them back into safe places. And then you've also got a host nation here, the Home Guard of the Norwegians, who are coming to help us and be part of our force with 4th Infantry Brigade. So hopefully that gives you a flavour for just what makes up the team in Norway. A successful exercise for me as a commanding officer fundamentally is making sure that all the troops are safe by the time they've finished, and this out here in Norway has really tested us. We've got to fight as close to being, the real thing, and maybe one day this will be absolutely real, but bringing them all home and making sure they're safe, first of all, that's success. So out here managing risk has been a real challenge. I think secondly that they've all had something purposeful to do whilst they've been here. So whether that's recovering a vehicle or cooking a meal or communicating via radio, those troops and the trades they have, provided they feel purposeful, that they've got something out of this exercise, that too feels like success. And then clearly the other very important part of being out on exercise is to prove that you can work. The capabilities work, the concepts work, the doctrine you write all comes together. And I think Norway has already shown us that we've got lots to learn, and we can take that away and build that into the way we do business in the future. So success, definitely that you can do it. Secondly, that we're safe. And thirdly, that everyone feels like they've got a purpose.
Unfortunately, some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, we couldn't really talk about or record. Like some of the piece of technology that they use, it's fascinating. It's amazing to see how things are put together very quickly. The British Army can quickly pack all these things together, lay out in a different location in a real world scenario, for example. It's really fascinating. The tanks, the vehicles, the satellites, everything that's been put together, sometimes to the naked eyes just looks like a standard vehicle to me, or standard tank. But as soon as you get closer to it and see what they're all about, there's so much piece of tech, there's so much technology that's used here. For example, the recovery vehicle has so many CPUs there ready to process all sorts of information to be able to balance itself and so much more. Something I also really find fascinating is the way the team's brought together. For example, the chef, they're all trained to make sure everything's ready to go on time. There's punctuality, there's discipline. The way people sleep as well, like people bring their own stuff sometimes to make sure they're as comfortable as possible. The way they communicate with each other, it's all fascinating. Anyway, guys, this is a kind of different video for this channel. Let me know what you guys think. Would you watch something like this again? Let us know in the comments below. Let us know what you think as well of the whole concept of exercise in the comments below. In the meantime, make sure you hit the subscribe button, share it as well, and hit that bell button so you'll be one of the first people to know every time we upload on this channel. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.